Ooh. So this is the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Yoga Gen 8. Bit of a mouthful, but that's what it's called. And it is, in my opinion, probably the ultimate business laptop. And I'll explain to you why that is at the end. But first, before we get into this, I just want to touch on the packaging. I don't know if you noticed, but this is different. The little box it comes in, it's all made of bamboo. And there's no frills, there's nothing else in it. It's just pressed bamboo. The case itself has a bamboo handle that comes on it. It is all recycled cardboard. It's not colored in any way, it's just a sort of dull brown cardboard. And that is because all of it is made from, well, sustainable materials or recycled materials, which is kind of neat. So kudos to you, Lenovo, for doing that. I think that's pretty cool. But let's first talk about what we get with this machine. So obviously there's the physical things. This is not the thinnest of laptops that you've ever seen, but it's about 1.4 kilos, which is 600-700 pounds, I think. And you get, on the one side here, you get the headphone jack, you get a USB-A connection, which you also get on the other side. And then you get two USB-C connectors as well, of course, because that's the modern standard. One of them is used for charging as well. And then a full HDMI port. And me, as a presenter on stage, that is gold. Yep. You also, actually, on the other side, you get the pen. But we'll talk a bit more, there we go, about the pen later on, because these pens are very useful, as I've found out, especially in business use cases. So that's the physical things that you get. It also comes with Wi-Fi 6E, which is the latest standard. There's Wi-Fi 7 as well, but hardly anything supports that currently. Wi-Fi 6E, I made a video on that, how you can get that standard into your network, and that video is linked there with the U6 Enterprise access point. But this is really nice. Like I say that all the time. This is just the finish on this is this sort of charcoaly metal gray kind of color. And if we open it, you'll see that it continues on the inside as well. This particular model has an Intel Evo i7, and it is I have to look at my notes because there are so many different models. This one is the 1355U processor with, I don't know, it's fast enough. It comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM. It can come with up to 64, but it is soldered on the board, so you have to choose up front. You can't upgrade it later on. This one has a 512 gigabyte hard drive SSD, which is plenty for day-to-day use. You can configure it up to 2 terabyte if you really want to. And then it has up here, so it has a bunch of features that I haven't actually seen before in a laptop. It might, let me know in the comments if I'm completely wrong, but it has 4 speakers in it. So it has 2 standard speakers, they call them woofers, they're not really, I don't think. And then 2 tweeters, which is kind of neat. So the audio should be amazing. It has a quad mic array up here at the top, whatever that is. It has 4 of them, quad mic. And then it has a full 1080p webcam as well, so that should be quite nice, with of course the standard security shutter you can put on there if you don't want people to see your face. It has a 14 inch WUXGA screen, which is 1920 by 1200. You can also get them in a sort of 4K equivalent, 3840 by 2400. But this one has the lower resolution screen, which I'm kind of okay with because it uses less power as far as I understand. So that's fine. It's a touchscreen, of course. And then this is a yoga, right? So it swivels. Yeah, right. So that's the majority of the features that are on here. The touchpad is relatively large, which is nice. All right, so let's talk a bit more about functionality. So let's turn it on, and we'll dive a little bit more into the yoga universe. Yogaverse? Anyway, you turn it on up here, and that is also the fingerprint sensor. So that's also where, when you press the button to turn the computer on, you've already scanned your fingerprint. That's kind of neat. Makes everything a little bit easier. So there we go. That's the screen. The immediate thing that I've noticed about this screen, once it's on, is that it's way less glary. So there was this trend at one point where screens were very sort of glass and shiny and whatever. It looked very pretty, but it was almost impossible to use in anything but like this sort of dim lighting. They seem to have changed that. It's much more satin, which is lovely. Thank you, Lenovo. That is a huge improvement in my book. Now, if you're not familiar with the Yoga line of laptops from Lenovo, they're called Yoga because, well, they have different modes for the screen. So this is the standard laptop mode, blah, 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 blah. Then you can do this with, they call tent, I think, and you can see the screen swivels, and I just turned something on, whatever that was. That is handy if you are sort of, say, collaborating with someone, you can use it. It goes into sort of a tablet mode. And speaking of tablet, you can also use it as a tablet. And in this mode, the keyboard is disconnected or disabled, and you're actually supposed to use, where'd it go? The pen. Here it is. Like so. And then the pen here is makes sense in tablet mode. I can go down here, I can open up the whiteboard, and you can see there, hello YouTube. Whee! Isn't that lovely? The pen, I also use it a lot for graphics. When I do the thumbnails for these videos, sometimes I use the pen to outline the white line. So the pen does actually come in handy as well. So that's why it's called a yoga, because it has these sort of modes of the yoga. Doing yoga? I don't know, but that's why it's called yoga. So this is the ThinkPad X1 Yoga. Now this is the 8th generation, as the title also says, and they've come a long way. So just happens, I don't know if you noticed at the start, but I actually have a Gen 1. This is the first generation yoga device. Also doing the whole yoga thing like the other one, right? Actually, I don't know if you can see it, but the keyboard on here goes down. It's hard to tell, anyway, which is kind of neat. I don't know if it does it here. Actually, that's a good point. Does the keyboard retract? No, it doesn't. So they've gone away with that. So instead it's just disabled. All right. I'm wondering if there maybe is a little bit, there was a bit higher on here. But here you can see the Genesis and the latest side by side. The new one's a little bit smaller, but in general, there's not a huge difference, because that's what it's all about with these. It's refinement. And this Gen 8 is just a refined version. Obviously the hardware has been upgraded, it's modern, but the Gen 1 was an incredible device. So yeah, just a bit of trivia for you, Gen 1 and Gen 8. I know. Right, so that's the yoga part of it. So let's talk about the ThinkPad part of the computer. And that is, for me, it's the keyboard. This is one of the best keyboards on any laptop that I've tried. The ThinkPad keyboard, I mean, in general, it's just tried and tested. It is so good, it's so comfortable to write on. It does have the TrackPoint, which is the red knob thing here, which is your mouse. If you're not used to using that, it can get a little bit frustrating. But when you get into it and you start using it for real, your productivity is much higher. It is so much quicker using that than doing the trackpad and moving a hand. Yeah, you might not believe it, but it is. ThinkPad also means that this is a mil-spec machine, so this is really, really good build quality. You can sort of, I'm not going to drop it, but you can drop these and they'll keep going. So yeah, it's a proper ThinkPad. Don't be mistaken just because it's called Yoga. It's all building up to why I call this the ultimate business laptop. Look at the battery life here with, in this case, 93% remaining. It says I get 7 hours. Whether I get that or not, obviously, it depends on how I use it. But that's not bad. That's pretty damn good. My X1 Extreme that I use every day as well gets nowhere near that because it's big and beefy. So you get almost a full day of working without the charger on him. And it uses just a standard USB 65 watt charger. So almost anything will charge this thing. So yeah, decent battery life. Obviously use will show over time what the actual battery life is. But so far on the surface of it, it's pretty good. So let's just talk about this webcam. Because as someone who creates these videos and content, I don't have a good relationship with webcams. Often they're very grainy or they're distorted and the colors are off. If you just look at this here on the camera, it's pretty good. It's not a 4K camera, it's a 1080p webcam, but overall, I can't really fault it. Like you can see yourself here, there's the camera. Hello. But yeah, it's really, really passable. Smooth, the colors are reasonable. It's a bit dull, but you can always change that if you wanted to. And then of course there's the microphone, the 4-quad mic up here. Yeah, as far as I can tell, it's kind of hard because I don't listen to myself when I record, is that it's very clear audio that comes through. Some of the yogas that I've had in the past have been extraordinarily directional. So if you had to sit right in front of the camera, otherwise the microphone wouldn't pick you up. And that was great unless there were 2 of you on the call and you sat here, it wouldn't pick up either of you. This seems to be with this quad mic array, it actually picks up things really well. Of course, they throw in the word AI in there, which I think in this case means that it's pretty good at filtering out background noise and noise that isn't you. So yeah, I think the camera works really well. I'm quite happy with it for a webcam, for a business laptop, for sure. We can talk a bit about the software that comes with it. It's the typical vendor software. There's a lot of bloat that comes from Microsoft. There's a lot of bloat that comes from Lenovo. You do get Lenovo Vantage here, which is the firmware update tool from Lenovo. In this case, I've got the Lenovo Commercial Vantage, which means there's way less upsell. Hey! So that's kind of nice. I think you can download that as well if you have a Lenovo device. And this means that I can relatively easily update the firmware on the machine, so that's nice. There isn't a lot of other Lenovo pre-installed things on this, which is a blessing. I don't think, as far as I can tell, there's no antivirus. No, it's just Windows's standard stuff. There's no McAfee, bloatware or anything like that. So that's really nice. Thank you, Lenovo. We appreciate that as technologists. So yeah, it's software-wise, it's pretty vanilla, but I like that. I'm okay with that. I appreciate that. There's no special features, just like if you didn't see my video on the Yoga Book 9i, it's linked up there. Then that has a lot of bespoke software because it needs it for the 2 screens, but this doesn't. It's very easy and approachable. So well done Lenovo, I think, on this part as well. So why do I call this the ultimate business laptop? Well, it kind of just is. If you look at all the different features, so let's start with the physical size of it. It fits neatly in any laptop bag or sleeve. It weighs 1.4 kilos, so it's not very heavy. It has a lot of ports. It has 2 USB-Cs, 2 USB-A, and more importantly, it has the HDMI for presentations and video out, video and audio. That to me is a huge plus. The pen as well is super useful for collaboration purposes, another hardware feature that you get with the Yoga. Actually, a few of my fellow Lenovo enthusiasts have dedicated their Lenovo life to these pens. Like there's some of them just go all in on these pens because they're activated. Like this is a powered pen, and it has touch points, and it has, you can do all sorts. Has a mouse button on it as well. It's very, very neat. And then of course we go on to being a Yoga. You can flip it. You can use it as a tablet if you're somewhere where you need that feature. You can use it for a presentation. You can put this on a table and you can sit around it and watch the presentation. Or you can just use it as a laptop like this, like normal, right? It does all of those. It's durable. It has enough power, 16 gigs of RAM and an i7 processor and 512 gigabytes of SSD. Of course, you can upgrade that when if you order one. And it has a really good webcam for meetings. I would love to pick something on this that I don't like, but there just isn't anything. It is a brilliant device, and that's why I call it the ultimate business laptop. It's not a gaming machine. Don't get me on that, because I'm not testing specs or anything on this or all these benchmarks, because there's no point. This is a perfect business machine. And if you disagree, put in the comments, or if you agree, put that in the comments as well. I'd love to hear your opinion on it as well. The audio on it, I forgot to mention that before. The audio is okay with the 4 speakers. You can absolutely listen to music on it, etc. I always prefer having headset on, so less relevant for me. But yeah, let me know what you think. I'm genuinely impressed. This is the refinement of the original Gen 1, which was also brilliant, and they just managed to improve on it over time, the whole time. I'm impressed. Anyway, enough Lenovo for this time. I'll see you in the next video.